Good morning. And that a rare Sunday morning stream by your boy Celine Driver. Yeah, I'm bored. Hang on, I gotta check something over here. Yeah, fix that. I'm bored. I'm a little depressed, but not for the reasons you all might think. And I got nothing better to do for a little while. And figured I just do a live stream. What the hell? Just jump on, talk, be trolled, of course. Uncle Lou's the first person in here. Hashtag Sunbelt Bill. Yes, well, growing pains were to be expected. Nate the Great, he was not late. He says hello with a question mark. Well, hello. Neo is here. Good to see you, sir. And Goose Sports with the Go Tigers. Yeah. Well, I did call Florida losing to LSU back in my preview and prediction time. It doesn't surprise me that they lost. I thought they had a bit of a chance, considering that LSU is not a particularly good team this year. Well, Florida isn't a particularly good team this year either, but I figured, home field, night game in the swamp, which is always entertaining. Maybe Richardson would play better, and he did. But of course, it's the ghost of Todd Grantham. Grantham may not be there anymore, but his players are, and his players aren't very good. I think I could count the number of good defensive players on that team on one hand, and have two fingers left over. And I'm probably being generous. Defense is not good at all. They don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to cover. They don't know how to pressure the quarterback. They're not a good team. Not a good team. Have a decent running game, especially when you add Richardson into the mix as a runner. But as a quarterback, he's hit or miss at best. So we need to recruit a quarterback, a real one this time, not a running back with quarterback shoulder pads. And we need to recruit heavily on defense. As a matter of fact, I would argue that all of our recruiting should be on defense and let the offense try and figure itself out. But yeah, Napier is not working with a lot of bullets in the gun, as they say. That'll probably get me demonetized. And he's the guy who's going to have to repair about a decade or so's worth of damage to the program. Let's see if he can do it. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Last night, I missed a good part of the Florida game because of a family obligation. There is a place in this town, the Sarasota Museum of Art. It's attached to the Ringling College of Art and Design. My family is listed on there as a founder, meaning that they helped start the whole thing. And it's been open for a few years now. It was a decade-long project to come to fruition. They basically took the old Sarasota High School main building, which is a National Historical Site building, and gutted it and refurbished it and turned it into an art museum that is also classrooms and things like that for the Ringling College. And my parents were heavily involved in making that happen. And last night was an event to celebrate the opening. Pardon me, the opening of a new. Pardon me again. The last night was an opening for the founders and big donors. Soft opening for a new display that's going to run for quite a while in the museum. And I'm not an artist. I really couldn't tell you much about the stuff that I saw. It was, a lot of it was very, very, very good. And there was like somebody walked around with a video camera and shot scenes in nature and called it art. I don't get it. Brad Pitt's here. Good to see you, sir. Yes, Lou, he's still employed. He's not going anywhere. Unlike some stupid SEC schools, we actually keep our coaches for a little while. Give them an opportunity to fail past half a year. Where was I going with that? Oh, last night was the first time that my mom had been to an event like that since before my father got injured and began in December of 2021 and kind of deteriorated from there and recently passed away in mid-September this year. And this is the first time my mom had been around all those people. Almost all of them are friends, people she knows, people she's worked with in the past. And she decided to go to this event because, this is something that they did together and they believed in. And I took her because I didn't want her to go alone. And I need to, be a presence now because, I'm the next generation up on what happens with all this involvement in these things. And it was very hard to do this, it turned out. All these people knew my father. A lot of them were his friends. And it was very hard to, it was heartwarming in a way and hard in a way to hear all the condolences and the well wishes and the little stories about how my father affected what they did and who they were and so on, and what he's meant to our city and to our community in the area and the glass collecting community at large. And it was very heartening to hear this. I'm very proud to be my father's son, and I'm grateful for all the well wishes and everything. But in the end, went home and it was like, because of the timing of my father's death, and then a hurricane hits you the next week or so, haven't really had a time to grieve, and neither really has my mom. And it kind of, it hit her, it hit me. I didn't sleep very well last night, and just kind of numb and sad and depressed, and obviously a football game that we lost is very minor, very small potatoes compared to that, but it certainly didn't help. So I just thought I would jump on here and talk to you guys, or have you try and make me laugh or something. But I just if none of that happens, I'll just fuck off and do something else. I have a hole upstairs to tear apart because starting tomorrow, I'm getting new floors put in on the upstairs and get rid of the last of the carpeting in my house. And you can see back here, the laminate. It used to be carpet, if you look at some of the old videos. And the upstairs is going to look like this by the end of this week. Oh, good morning, Battle Angel. Good to see you, my dear. Good to see you. And, so I've got things to do. I've got to tear that whole upstairs apart and get ready for those guys. But frankly, I'm not motivated to do it. I'm more sitting around thinking about, Pop. And, he's been gone about a month now. And, between all the things that are going on, I really haven't had a lot of time to sit down and think about, what it means going forward. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be doing it. In Judaism, we have a tradition, it's called sitting Shiva. I'm not sitting Shiva. I mean, I'm not sitting alone waiting for people to bring me food and come by and visit me while I sit for a week and pray and reflect. It's not what I'm doing, but I have been trying to do some reflection on what Pop meant to me. It was nice that Harvard won yesterday. Beat the crap out of something called Howard University. So at least my dad's alma mater is doing better than mine. Oh, boy. So nobody's really saying anything in the comments except for Lou wants to do a wellness check on Billy Napier. Well, Lou, if you Google the University of Florida Athletic Department, I'm sure you can find the phone number and give him a call and ask somebody if he's been fired or not. I'm sure they'll be happy to tell you that he's not been fired. And who's going to get fired first? Obviously, the Auburn coach will get fired first. I mean, that's just a stupid question. Uncle Lou says he's going to skip your season is over today. Nothing to talk about. Yeah, that's hyperbole if I ever heard it. I mean, you could talk about, I don't think Alabama's season is over because they lost to an SEC East team, and that's not going to really affect their SEC West standing very much. They're probably still the best team in the West, and they're most likely going to be in the SEC championship game. My question for you, Lou, would be interest in NASCAR has doubled in Tuscaloosa overnight. Probably. What's that name of that screen? Eastabonga Billy? Oh, boy. Whatever. The trolls are out today. The question I would have for Lou and all the other Georgia fans is, are you worried about Tennessee yet? I mean, maybe you don't have to be worried about Tennessee. I honestly, I don't know if the game is being played in Athens or Knoxville. If the game is being played in Athens, I don't think you have to worry at all. I think if it's being played in Knoxville, maybe a little bit of worry. But overall, when was the last time Georgia was worried about Tennessee? Never mind that. When was the last time that Tennessee beat Georgia, Alabama, and Florida in 1 year? They've already done double. Can they do the trifecta? I don't know. I still think Georgia is overall a better team than Tennessee. But I got to tell you, old Hendon Ho, I didn't see the game. I was otherwise occupied. But the stat line on the game looked pretty impressive for the Tennessee quarterback. And some of the highlights I saw looked like he was running through the Alabama defense at a pretty good clip. So I don't know. Is Georgia worried about? Is the Georgia fan base worried about Tennessee? For once, when was the last time Georgia was worried about Tennessee? Uh, Probably when George W. Bush was president. I don't know. Maybe later than that. Beggin Megan is here. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Miss my father. That's mostly the point here. Do I think Lou said, do I think Georgia is going to commit 17 penalties, turn the ball over, and give up the most points since 1907? No, he's not worried. No, I don't think Georgia's going to give up 17 penalties. Turn the ball over? I don't know. That sort of depends on what do you call him? Shaquezius Bennett or Shaquazius Bennett? I don't even know why the hell you call him that anymore. I must have missed the stream. I guess that depends on how well the Mighty Mite plays as quarterback. But okay, you're not worried. I mean, I asked the question, I got the answer. Yes, I know, Matt, that Tennessee did beat Alabama. I was shocked, actually. I mean, it turned into a track meet. It's a hell of a game. Hell of a game. Megan. He's dead serious. He's worried about Florida. I feel like Georgia, is seriously overrated and Florida is underrated. I really think Florida is going to win. No, Megan. Florida is not going to beat Georgia. As a matter of fact, I fully expect Georgia to run the Gators right out of the stadium. I see no way that the Florida defense can slow down the Georgia offense, even with a second-rate quarterback. And Stetson Bennett is a second-rate quarterback. Don't at me. Yes, LSU played yesterday. That's very good. So for another year, the morning show is going to be the morning shoe. Guess I'll have to live with that. I don't know. But it's not going to be the mustard shoe anymore. It's just going to be the morning shoe. Really? There's already Georgia fans rolling into Jacksonville already? Jesus. Well, Florida has, if I remember correctly, Florida has a bye week this coming week. They'll lose to the bye week. And then they play the Bulldogs on the 30th and the 29th. Or is it? It's the 29th. And that will be an ugly game. I think Georgia is probably going to beat Florida by 3 touchdowns at least. I have no hope for the University of Florida against Georgia. Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of hope for the Gators for the rest of the season. I think the one game they're guaranteed to win is Vanderbilt. But past that, I don't know. I mean, I was gratified that Florida State lost because I hate Florida State. Miami somehow won. Miami won, didn't they? Yeah, they I think they were playing Virginia Tech. Jumped out to a big lead and then hung on to win. And by the way, speaking of that, shout out to my friend Slim Shady Canes. Congratulations on the birth of your brand new baby girl. Little girl. He sent me a picture of her. She is just the cutest little thing, and her eyes were wide open too. That was nice to see. So, not a lot of sleep for Slim Shady Canes for next year. Yeah, he's not going to be sleeping very well. Miami, that's facts, Megan. Miami is a tough team to pick this year. They are, they're up and down. I don't. but I don't pick games. I leave game picking to Uncle Lou. I'd rather spend my money on watches than gamble it. Tomorrow, a video coming out on this watch. That's all you're going to see. I love this watch. This may be this definitely is a top 5 favorite in my collection. It may be the new number 1 favorite watch I have in my collection. This thing is beautiful. And I managed to trade for it and got a good deal. And I'm happy, and the guy who I traded with is happy. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, but let's see. Could it happen that Georgia and Tennessee meet? And somebody remind me, where is the game being played? But Georgia and Tennessee could conceivably meet and be both in the top 5, maybe even in the top 3, if Tennessee keeps winning and Georgia keeps winning. I'm not, I'll take a look. Hang on. Sports. I don't care about basketball. Fuck basketball. Bunch of America-hating divas running around the basketball court complaining about how oppressed they are. Schedule. The Tennessee game is in Knoxville. No, sorry, I misspeak. It's in Athens. So Georgia should win that game. I mean, all other things being equal, Georgia should win that game just for the simple fact it's a home game. Big Wrist, good to see you. There are no other watch addicts here besides you and me, Big Wrist. These streams always end up being sports related. I remember trying to do it all on a couple of occasions. I remember trying to do just a straight watch stream. Never worked. All the people that showed up were college football people. It never worked. Matt says it's being played in Georgia. Yeah. That's not going to be an easy ask for Georgia, for Tennessee. I don't think No, I didn't I say that? I said, yeah, NBA is nothing but a league of millionaire America hating divas. And you forgot America hating divas who are beholden to their Chinese overlords. I have no use for the National Bitches Association. I have none at all. I put the NBA on a level below the No Fun League, and I already have zero respect and 200% contempt for pro football. And if I have even less use for the National Bitches Association, you do the math. I am happy that pro hockey has started. Although my Boston Bruins, they're not going to be a very good team this year. They're getting a little bit old. Their goaltending is a little bit, as they say, a little sus. And they're just not, I mean, they'll get to the playoffs most likely, but they'll probably bounce out in the first round. I think in the East, Tampa is probably still the team to beat. And in the West, I'm not really sure yet. I haven't really analyzed it yet, but Tampa looks like the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. But as long as Pittsburgh doesn't make it, or Montreal make it, and I'm hoping that the Montreal Canadiens are still the worst team in the NHL, like they were last year. They literally went from a Stanley Cup team, they lost to the Lightning, to the worst team in the NHL. They even finished lower than the Seattle Kraken, which is an expansion fucking team. Oh, that's funny. All hail G. Not cute. Okay. But let's see. The Billy Napier troll guy said interest in NASCAR has doubled. Well, that's a little skewed, sir, because we're almost at the end of the NASCAR season, and the playoffs are almost done, and we're what 3 races short. I think 2 or 3 races short of crowning a new NASCAR champion. I lost interest because Kyle Busch got knocked out already. So my only interest is that Joey Logano or Chase Elliott don't win the championship. So that's about the extent of my. I mean, I'd like to see Denny Hamlin win just because he's a really good driver and he hasn't won one yet. But with Kyle Busch not in contention for the Cup, I don't hold a lot of interest in it. And the only other auto racing that's going on right now is Formula One, and Formula One is unwatchable. So that European garbage, I have no time for. Alan A is here. He just says, okay. Pardon me. Big Rest says the Cancus did a Cancus? What's a Cancus? You mean Canucks? As in Vancouver Canucks, or just Canuck is another word for Canadian? Well, yeah, the Montreal Canadiens in 1 year went from second best team in the NHL to the worst team in the NHL in 1 year. And the French Canadians up in Montreal are not going to tolerate that. They were probably headhunting for somebody's blood. Yeah, in Canada, passion for hockey is just as high as any passion for college football here in the South. Oh, Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, Vancouver Canucks, they're one of those Canadian teams. Every once in a while, they pop up and they get half decent to, decent for a year, maybe 2, and then they just nosedive again, and they fall apart, and they disappear. Alan A said there's no way that Harsin will be employed by Saturday. Maybe. I mean, there is an argument for firing a coach in the middle of the season so that the new coach can get his recruiting in and so on, and try and save the recruiting for the next year and the year after that. But there's also the argument that if you fire a coach in the middle of the year, what are you going to do? I mean, now you've got an interim coach. And that's not going to look good to recruits either. So I don't know what you're going to do. I know that Harsin is not going to be there in 23. Napier will be there in 23. He'll probably be there in 24, but if he doesn't do something a little more significant than a 5-7 or a 6-6 year, and gets his ass handed to him by his rivals every time he takes the field, he'll be gone too. And I got to say, I had hopes for Napier. Young coach, hungry, has a good pedigree coming out of the Saban and Sweeney programs. Likes to recruit, got a good head for it. Florida's recruiting class for 2023 seems to be a pretty good one. We've landed some good stuff. Doesn't do us any good now, but maybe in 23, 24. I have hopes for Napier. And I know that Napier is not working with his players. He's working with somebody else's players. And that somebody else was somebody that didn't recruit very well in the best recruiting environment in the country. So there you go. I mean, that's the way it is. Watch 6-2 is here. I'm all right, sir. A little depressed. I went over that earlier. You can go back and watch if you want. Vegas is passionate about hockey. Well, Big Risk, if you a lot of people don't follow the minor league hockey programs, but way back when in the International Hockey League, Vegas had a team, and they sold out every game, and the fans there were absolutely rabid. In fact, the fans for the Vegas IHL team traveled very well too. They ended up in Atlanta when the Atlanta had the Atlanta Knights, Knights, Knights. And the Vegas fans traveled to Atlanta all the time, especially in a playoff series that we had with Vegas. And they were fantastic fans. They were rabid as fuck. But Vegas I have no doubt that Vegas could support an NHL team because I've seen their support and passion for even minor league hockey. So there is a history of hockey in Las Vegas. That may be, Lou, that there will be decommits. In fact, I predicted that last night that on a Facebook group that we landed a few high-level commits, and I said, well, these guys are going to decommit almost immediately now. So it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. But we'll see. I mean, they haven't decommitted until they decommit. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just sit and wait, see what happens. Who knows? They may yet salvage something out of the season. They may do better than 5-7 or 6-6. You never know. I don't think that'll happen, but you never know. But yeah, I expect there might be some decommits after last night's debacle. But who knows? Maybe these guys, if we get some good commits on defense, what do all college players want? Playing time, right? They want playing time. Well, maybe they'll figure, well, if I go to Florida as a defensive star, I'll get to play right away and make my bones and make a good pitch for the No Fun League at the next level. Because the defense is so bad, I'll get to play right away. Hey, anything's possible. The Tennessee-Alabama game should show you that anything's possible, right? So, who knows? I don't follow the recruiting stuff. I mean, Lou says he doesn't follow the recruiting very much. I follow it even less than he does. I think I might read a blurb on Facebook as it scrolls past saying, Florida lands 4-star commit. Oh, good. Next. Go on to the political humor. We'll see what happens. Now, let's see. What else is going on? Not much. Well, let's see. I've yammered long enough. I forgot I was using StreamYard. It's been so long since I've done a stream. I forgot I was doing StreamYard. I can drop the link and get a guest or 3 or 4. And then I don't have to carry the show so much. I can let other people talk to me or talk at me or talk to you guys. Of course, nobody will click on anyway. Remember, the one and only rule is you have to turn your camera on so I can see that you're not a naked troll doing the 2-knuckle shuffle. Unless you're a pretty girl, in which case you can be naked all you want. Meanwhile, around here, the cleanup from Hurricane Ian continues. They've actually started sending big trucks with crane-mounted claws through our neighborhood, and they're slowly beginning to pick up these humongous piles of tree trunks and yard waste and all kinds of crap that are piling up and killing everybody's lawn. It is finally happening. I was really proud of the state overall. I mean, FPL and the other Florida Power and Light is a major power provider in this part of the state and other parts. They went to about 98% repaired within a week to a week and a half of the storm leaving the area. The other regional power companies were at about the same rate within 2 weeks. There were a couple of bridges blown out down around Sanibel and Captiva and Pine Island. I mean, these are bridges which are the only way on or off the islands. And they were, I think the Pine Island bridge was repaired within 3 days. The Sanibel bridge was repaired within 6 days. So it may not be the best state to ride out a hurricane in, considering how low everything is to sea level and how vulnerable we are to storm surge. But damned if this state can't recover from a hurricane real quick. Now, going to be a lot of rebuilding. I did some volunteer work down in one of the more damaged areas. Nothing major. I mean, you just did what I could. The damage down there is depressing. I mean, a lot of those areas were just ending their recovery from Hurricane Irma a few years ago. And then they got hit again. And it was really shocking. Siesta Key, #1 beach. Siesta Key held up pretty well, Battle Angel. In fact, I was just out there a couple of days ago, going to my favorite sandwich shop. I wish I could have taken you and Lou to it. It's called Anna's Deli. And I decided just for the hell of it, because I was in the Mustang and I wanted to give it a good run and get everything lubricated and up to temperature. I started at the north end of Siesta Key and Anna's Deli is at the south end. And I drove around the whole island. And obviously there are trees down, branches and shit. And some fences were blown out and stuff like that. The roads were all passable. All the power was back on. Everything looked perfectly normal. Well, I'd love to take you and Lou to it, but it's a lunch place. They open like 10:30 in the morning and they close about 4. So you got to go in there and get your food for lunch. I always get a surfer. Delicious, great, it's a pretty good sized sandwich. Ham, turkey, cucumber, Swiss, and they call it surfer sauce, which is like a mayo but uplifted on your choice of bread, white, rye, marble, pumpernickel. Delicious. Fantastic sandwich. And yes, Lou can wear a hat in there. Yeah, but Siesta Key looked fine. The beach parking lot was active as it always was. Always is. So yeah, Siesta Key came through pretty good. There were a couple of houses right on the beach that were damaged slightly, or more than slightly, really. But the current code on building on barrier islands in Florida is that you have to have the first floor is non-living space. Now it can be garage, it could be carports, it could be storage. You build everything on stilts, and your living space starts on the second story and third story. So everything's on stilts now. So unless the storm surge is 20 feet high, which I guess is possible, in which case the house wouldn't survive anyway, you're not going to get flooded. Your cars might get flooded, but you won't. No, Neil, I was not aware that you and Lizard Circus were moving to Pensacola. Now that's up in the Panhandle. That's fairly away from me. That's like 5 or 6 hour drive away from me. So not close, but you'll like Pensacola. It's a really nice place to live. It's a little bit more vulnerable to hurricanes than my area. Because a lot of hurricanes like to skirt the west coast of Florida and go right up into the Panhandle. I think I did a Battle Angel request video on that earlier this year. I showed it on the map. But I think, was it Michael? Recently just devastated the area. But it's a nice place to be. And in spring break, it gets crazy. And of course, there's a naval air station there too. Shippies, whatever. I never knew how to pronounce the name. Is it Shipes? Anyway, he's here, so that's good. Long Eye, Shipes. Okay. Albert Sancho is here. Good to see you, sir. Well, now I know. It's Shipes. It's like how to pronounce Zathras. 10 points if you get that reference. Zathras. Never mind. If anybody in this stream besides me knows who Zathras is, I'd be surprised. Great character. Albert, I did see that Tennessee beat Alabama. I didn't see the game, though. All right, hang on, Jay. There he is. He's working on something. See, he turns his camera on and then he ignores me.
What's wrong? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Okay. Hey, I just wanted to show you this right here, man. I thought this was pretty cool. So this is like a tongue and groove ceiling on the back porch, and I've already replaced like a lot of the where wood came in through the top floor and somehow settled in. I already replaced a bunch of wood and bondoed everything. But you see these boards there like this?
Yeah.
It makes you think that water was so heavy up there that they fell through, but that's not the case at all. Because let me see. Take for example right here. You see this board right here? So that's 5 3/4 wide. Look at the gap left. It's like a little less than 3 inches. So what happened was wood swells up when it gets wet, of course. Everybody knows that. But so the board started moving this way, and the other board started moving this way, and that's just with so much pressure they popped down.
Right.
I just thought that was crazy. I never seen that before. You know, I always fixed all this shit last week, and it was pretty much ready for paint back here. But anyway, job security, I guess. All that's from the hurricane. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. Hang on a minute. The voice is here.
What's going on?
That is the voice. Yes.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. How's your day going, sir?
I went over it earlier in the video. There was, an event that my mom and I attended yesterday. That was a lot of folks that my father knew, and after hearing all these people come at me with condolences and stories and shit, I was just kind of like, oh, it was both gratifying and depressing. Because I really haven't had a chance to grieve very much. I mean, he dies, and then we get a hurricane, and then all the recovery from the hurricane and all that. So,
well, I can certainly understand that.
Yeah, it's beginning to hit a little
bit. I can tell you, when my dad passed away, he passed away about 5-6 years ago. He was pretty much my best friend, and that was tough. That was tough. When I found out, I was about 2.5, 3 hours away from my home on business, so I wasn't even around, really family or anything. So, I found that out on my own and had to finish up what I was doing because I was a district manager at the time, and then I had to drive 2.5, 3 hours back home and then tell my kids. So that was tough. I can 100% understand where you're coming from, man. And it does take a while. I won't say it ever gets easier. You just get better at coping with it. So
yeah, I probably every time I lost a grandparent, it was the same way. So eventually it gets easier to cope with, but it never really goes away. Hell, I lost my last grandparent in '93, and I still think about him.
Yeah. When it comes to my family, things have been, I won't say hard, but it hasn't been the easiest thing in the world. Other than my uncle, I have one uncle. I am the oldest living person, male, on my father's side.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, well, you got a few years on me.
Yeah, I do. And Big Risk was right. It was Babylon 5 where that character reference came from. So very good.
Well, you feel like talking football this morning?
I was talking a little bit of football earlier. I was musing a little bit about when was the last time Georgia fans were worried about Tennessee, and I was thinking, God, it's got to be at least the George W. Bush administration.
Well, there was a few years back where Georgia lost that Hail Mary pass. I was worried about that game.
Fucking Dobbs.
Yeah, I was worried about that game. I'm not, to be honest with you, and I'm making a video right now. I'm up here getting something to eat real quick, and then I go back to the studio. But I'm making a video right now about the Tennessee-Alabama game. And after that comes out, I'm going to make another video talking about the Georgia-Alabama game. I mean, the Georgia-Tennessee game. But the one thing I'll go ahead and put out there for whomever is that if you think Georgia is going to give you 130 yards in penalties, you're crazy.
No, Lou said the same thing.
Yeah, you barely won that game, and Alabama gave up 130 yards in penalty, and one of their penalties brought back like a 30 or 40-yard run. So that's almost 200 yards worth of offense they gave back. And I just don't think Georgia's going to be doing that. So, but I'll make a
I would
video
also
about that
mention
later.
how Georgia has dominated every team that Bama has struggled with since 2020 asterisk national championship trophy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's. I'm not saying that Georgia fans are sweating bullets or anything, but when was the last time Georgia looked at the Tennessee game coming up and said, "Well, it might just be a little bit more concerning this time"? And it's been a long time. I'm saying that Georgia's going to win this game because A, it's in Athens. B, Georgia's a better team. And I think that defense is going to make Hendon Ho's life a misery.
If you think Tennessee is the toughest game we got left, I think you're mistaken. It's to me, it's definitely Mississippi State. Tennessee finally beat a team they was not favored against. I mean, they got holes all over both sides of the line, both sides of the field. I just don't see where they're not a top 5 team. They are, to me, my 9th or 10th best team in the country right now.
That is their first top 10 win since what, like 2005 or something?
Exactly, man.
Yeah, it was. You know, the funny part for Florida is Georgia might actually be looking past Florida to Tennessee, and maybe Florida has a 5% chance of winning the game.
Yeah, maybe.
No. Kirby's way too pumped, man. He hates them motherfuckers, man.
He does. He hates them.
Some of his best clips from halftime, man. All those little leaked videos. That's all recruiting tools, man. All that shit got leaked for real. He hates Florida. He said, just point at the scoreboard and laugh. When they try to pick a fight with you.
That's all right. I know Florida ain't winning that. Florida ain't winning that game. I don't think Florida will be within 3 touchdowns.
Florida will be lucky to score 10 points against Georgia. I'm just going to be honest with you.
No, that's true. And then Georgia will be lucky if they can keep the score under 50.
Yeah, so Georgia's started to figure out that we need to run Dejon Edwards and Branson Robinson more than Kenny Milton, and that has made all the difference in the world. Dejon and Branson are absolute hammers, and those other guys are speed backs. And if you go back and you look at Georgia over the past 8-9 years, the years that we were dominant with the running backs, we had a power back, and I call them a power back because they just plow through people, and then you have an agility back. So Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, and Todd Gurley, you'll have 2 and 2. They called it a double-headed monster because when we needed 2 or 3 yards, you put in Nick Chubb and he'd plow forward for 2 or 3. They'd get used to stacking the box against the power back. You'd slip in DeAndre Swift, the human joystick, and they'd load the box and he'd just dodge right around him. And it was absolutely maddening for a defensive coordinator to deal with. I don't see how Josh Heupel's defensive coordinator is going to deal with Georgia that late in the season. If you're going to play Georgia and an inexperienced Georgia team, you better play them earlier in the season. Because by the time we get there, Kirby Smart, they're going to have this stuff figured out, and it's going to be bad.
Saline, you're talking about Bama, right? And, you know, Georgia should be worried about Tennessee now because they beat Bama. But I said preseason, Bama will lose to Tennessee and Ole Miss and Oxford. Won't even make it to the SEC championship. And the third loss would be probably at the damn the Orange Bowl or the damn Citrus Bowl down here in Orlando, but in the meaningless bowl game. I'm surprised they hadn't already lost more games than that already. I mean, right now they should have 3 losses already with Texas and Texas A&M. They've basically been walking around the SEC like a damn wounded raccoon for, you know, since they won that national championship. They got mediocre coordinators. Go ahead.
So who comes out of the SEC West if it's not Bama?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Oh, well, Georgia will stop.
If they take down Bama at home, which I expect a different game than it was last year. I swear last year, man, Kiffin got a damn call or something saying they must have kidnapped 3 of his little girlfriends at school or something. I don't know. They just came out flat the first 2.5 quarters. Didn't really score anything.
So in the Alabama Tennessee game, Tennessee jumped out to a big lead quick. And then Alabama made some adjustments and Alabama started walking them down. And then Tennessee made an adjustment on their offense and they started moving again, but their defense could never, after that first quarter, could never stop Alabama. So,
well, the only thing that the difference between Alabama and Georgia in that respect is your quarterback. You know, I would argue that Bryce Young is a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett.
I don't know about that at this point.
Well, I'm just looking at the overall body of work, but then again, Bennett does hold an advantage.
The way I look at it is like this. While Bryce Young may be better with his arm as far as being able to hit a deep shot or something like that, he is not a better he's not a better facilitator of the game. He doesn't I don't feel like he understands the game as well as Stetson does, because if he did, he would be a much better quarterback than he is. Think about it. Stetson Bennett can beat Bryce Young and has with lesser arm strength and talent. That means he's got to have it upstairs.
Yeah, but Brett, you also know that Bo Nixon would have won the Heisman last year if he was on UGA's roster. I mean, when you surround yourself with that kind of talent and that kind of people protecting for you, I mean, it makes the game so much easier.
I just think that, I mean, player this or that. The neat thing for me, as a person that has no dog in the fight, pardon the pun, is for the first time in a long time, the Georgia-Tennessee game means something.
You can have it.
I mean, the winner of that game has the inside track to Atlanta at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's going to handle Florida. Sad to say, but that it is what it is. I don't know who Tennessee's got next, but I'm pretty sure they'll probably.
You're talking about a once in a decade loss, though. Those home losses to a team they should beat. I mean, it happened in 19 South Carolina. If Kirby's going to struggle, like I say, be worried about that Mississippi State road game. I'm telling you, it's going to be a night game. That is a game to watch. If you're a Georgia fan, that's the one you need to cross your fingers on. Because, I mean, you saw the trouble we had a couple years ago, and that's with JT slinging the ball for 400 yards around the field. I mean, do you trust Stetson to put up 400 yards? Fuck no.
No, but I don't trust him to lose the game at this point either.
Now, do I think Stetson is capable of 400 yards? Yes.
Do you want Stetson out there just saying, hey, throw for 400 and win this game? Fuck.
I don't want now. I'm in the same boat. Do I think Anthony Richardson can throw 350, 400 yards in the game? Yeah, I do. Do I want him to? No, I want the running game to take over, because the running game has turned the ball over less than the passing game. Nice pants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus Christ. What are you eating?
Taquitos.
I need this homeowner to hurry up and get back, because I got an 18 pack inside the refrigerator. It's locked up inside the house. I'm on my last Pabst Blue Ribbon until I get here.
That's a problem.
I mean, the store's only like 2 blocks away. You just got to go around this late.
Jesus Christ.
I think Georgia's going to circle Tennessee. Georgia's going to circle Mississippi State, and then whoever we're going to play in the SEC championship. Now, one of the things I will tell you is Georgia got to see Tennessee pull out all the stops, all their best plays, every single thing that they would have hidden from Georgia. They can't hide it now because they had to use it to beat Alabama.
Does Georgia have a bye week?
We have a bye week before we play you guys.
No, so do we. It ain't going to help, but it is what it is.
Georgia's kind of dinged up right now, so
Well,
think about this: Georgia shut Vandy out, and one of our best defensive players that we've had in years, Jalen Carter, has been sidelined for 2 or 3 games.
now, I'm hoping that Florida will use the bye week to go back into that brand new indoor stadium thing they have now, that practice facility.
Yep.
Go in there and run tackle drills. Learn how to fucking tackle. Because goddamn it, guys, you still haven't learned how to do it all the way to this level.
Georgia was having some tackling issues a few weeks ago too, so it ain't just y'all.
Well, no, I've watched Florida all year as much as I can. There've been a few gaps here and there, but I've watched Florida about as much as anyone for this whole year, and I haven't seen collectively a team that I don't know if they either can't tackle or they don't want to. I mean, like a 5-year-old doesn't want to eat his veggies. I don't want to tackle. No, I can't make me.
You don't want my opinion because it just makes me sound mean.
Yeah. You hate to pick on them. I mean, people predicted Florida to have 6 or 7 losses. Somehow, right before the season, they got bumped up to being preseason, 14th or something. I don't know how they got blown out of proportion. If you take that in consideration, yeah, they're looking bad. But if you go back to the original, what smart people thought, like way into last year, I mean, yeah, they're doing exactly. I mean, they're performing just as everyone thought they should this year. I mean,
well, I had them at 7-5. The only place I'm off right now is I thought they would lose to Utah and beat Kentucky. It flip-flopped, but I had them losing to one of those two. I had them losing to Tennessee, and I had them losing to LSU. Now, I thought over the past 2 weeks that because LSU didn't look so damn good that we had a shot. I was wrong.
I still can't believe Tennessee just put it on LSU. That was probably the most surprising game this year out of everything I saw. Just the way they beat down LSU at home.
I watched that part of that game. I thought that because Florida hung with Tennessee the whole game and had a shot at beating them, and then they go out and blow out LSU. I said, well, hey, maybe LSU ain't all that. And
football math doesn't work in a lot of cases, especially in SEC. It's all about matchups. But one thing about it, the most improved group in the SEC right now has got to be the Tennessee offensive line. Everybody talking about Tennessee ain't played no defense, and Bama's best defensive player in the nation. I'll tell you what, that Will Anderson guy. I mean, he lined up all sides being lined for the Heisman. Adam Anderson would rape Will Anderson. I mean, he's so much better of a player. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I think he's way overrated. They should have been up in that guy's face way more than he was during that Tennessee game. And they didn't call his name during the national championship. I mean, I just don't see how Will Anderson gets all this damn hype. I really don't think he would be on the field 60% of the time at the most if he played for Georgia.
Well, I'll tell you like this. Let me throw a curveball at you.
All right.
What if Alabama should be ranked 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere there? Let's just say that. Because if you look at how Tennessee beat them, you look at how Tennessee played Florida, look at how Florida played LSU. They're all right there together. If you take that ranking off the table, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, but if you continue that circle, then why did Alabama beat Arkansas? It's going back.
Arkansas is not that good.
That's what I'm saying. Arkansas is a 15th or 20th ranked team, so
something like that.
Alabama beat them pretty handily. So I mean, you got to continue to circle if you're doing football math. But I understand what you're saying. I see Bama just because there's so much parity. like between the 5 and the 25 group, I still got Bama probably. I mean, they're top 5, 6 team realistically.
Alabama is doing just the opposite of what it normally does in most years, which is get better as the season goes. Last year excluded because they did this a couple of times last year. Alabama is getting worse as they play. They're getting worse.
Okay, but Brett, let me ask you this though. I'm sorry to cut you off, but okay, realistically, go back to last year. Look at every road struggle win. They could have easily had 4 or 5 losses last year. I mean, to me, it's those damn coordinators. I don't see how after last year's performance, even though they went to the Natty, I mean, by the skin of their teeth, because Georgia laid down in the SEC title game because of playoff extension contracts were going on the Monday after that game. I'm telling you, that game was fixed. But anyway, I can't believe they brought back those coordinators. That stuns me because Saban isn't who he used to be. He can't. People ain't scared of him no more. I mean, you ain't got the coordinators drinking us heavy in their truck at 5:01 in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Because they're scared of him. The coordinators are mediocre, and you proved it last year. Even though they had a lucky run, I just don't see how they brought them guys back, and bam, it's showing right now on the field.
Well, I think it's because last year Jimbo Fisher and Kirby Smart did something that had never been done, and they showed them that when it matters, you can make Nick Saban bleed. And then once you saw that you can make him bleed, you can beat him. And now everybody goes into these games now with we can beat these guys. We can beat these guys. So
do you remember?
I don't think the teams.
I mean, 7, 8 years ago. I mean, I remember watching Bama. It's like, who the hell are going to beat these guys? I mean, realistically, yep. I mean, they just play perfect ball. I mean, little to none penalties. They were a well-oiled machine going up down the field. I mean, you look at it now; it is sloppy, undisciplined. I mean, they're bringing in, they're patching holes with duct tape. I mean, they're bringing Kentucky. It's GT players. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, what are they doing all these 5 stars?
I'll tell you what's going on. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. When Kirby Smart started winning the recruiting class battle with Nick Saban, it was kind of, before Kirby Smart really started going after it, there was no team in the SEC that was getting a big chunk of all of that talent that was going to Alabama. Kirby Smart steps in there, and now they're starting to have to split that talent because Kirby Smart is taking it away from Alabama. He just is.
I agree.
Because of that, they don't have as much talent over there.
Whoever, I mean, you got a talent coordinator or advisor, whatever they work out when they go scout these guys. I mean, they're definitely picking up a lot of gems in the 3 and 4 star range that either, COVID 2020, when you weren't allowed to go visit these guys, I think that really showed that Alabama was just like, okay, well, don't even worry about doing your history or research on this guy. Just take him to the 5-star. And then Kirby got all these damn gems. I mean, it was straight gems, man. 3 stars. People never heard of that. Turned out to just be fucking great players.
Well, not only that. Here's the other thing that nobody has really started talking about yet. Nobody's talking about how big of a win this was for Tennessee. Not just that they beat Alabama, but look at what's going to happen on the recruiting trail now. If you have a player who likes Tennessee,
right,
but wasn't I don't know if I have a good enough chances if I go play at Tennessee. Now, Josh Heupel can walk out there and say, hey, by the way, we just beat Tennessee.
Yeah, we just slayed the dragon. Yeah.
There are girls in the background.
Yeah, that's my wife and my daughter. My daughter's wearing her UTA shirt.
And plus, it didn't hurt that game day was at Tennessee for the second time this year. Also, game day bump. Seeing the campus and everything. I mean, it's a beautiful stadium. If nobody's ever been to Neyland Stadium, I mean, do yourself a favor and go out there and watch a Tennessee game.
I dare your daughter to shout "Go Gators" at the top of her lungs.
That's the tassel. Nice. All right, guys. My wife and kids just got home. I got another video coming out later today.
I gotta get back to work.
I'm gonna jump.
I'm gonna jump off. I've bored myself to death now.
See you later, Celine.
See you, Celine.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, Jay.
Y'all be safe.
You too.
All right. Well, I've entertained myself for a good hour or so. I feel better. Roki, how you doing, man? I've entertained myself for a good hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to go finish tearing up the upstairs. I got to take the upstairs apart, get it ready for crew coming in to do new flooring. Going to look like this by the end of the week. Get that laminate in, get that carpet out. Can't wait to get that ratty old bastard carpet out of my house. So I'm going to go finish doing all that crap and get it ready. But thanks for everyone stopping by. Impromptu Sunday stream by me, the Celine Driver. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. I'll try and do a live stream on Wednesday the 19th. It looks a little iffy, but I'll try. But anyway, y'all have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy the National Felons League and all the whining little millionaire bitches. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. I bear no ill will towards people who like things that I don't. I mean, I like things that they don't. Whatever. And even though they are really, really bad this year, I'm still a Gator fan. I will always bleed orange and blue until I draw breath number last. So, as I like to say on the occasion, go Gators and fuck you haters. It's your boy, Celine Driver, me. I am out. Peace.